Alright, welcome to the weekly walk and talk. And yes, I have maintained the video schedule so far. Well, there's some really weird birds around here in this park. Check this one out. What is that right there? So funny story before we get started today. I was just sat down here, so let me just show you. So I was sat here with my legs hanging over the edge a little bit, and I joke you not, I did not know there were these giant lizards in this park here. So I thought, stupid as it sounds, I thought it was a crocodile or an alligator or something like that. Let me just put some B-roll on so you can see how big of a beast these things are. But I'm here in Bangkok at the moment. I'm heading to south to some of the islands this week for a nice vacation, a nice holiday, because, and I said I'd mention why I'm actually taking a holiday, so I'll tell you about it now, even though we've got crows, noisy crows everywhere here. So we were actually planning to take our holiday in sort of April, May, June time of this year, but actually, because of all the stuff that keeps happening with all of these mandates and changes, and now we're hearing all these rumors about another lockdown in February because the health services are overwhelmed, and they're saying it's, you know, COVID and all this stuff, which I just do not believe at all. I don't think that is what's, oh, see that? I don't think that is what's overwhelming all the healthcare services at the moment. I think they're starting to realize what a big mistake they've made over the last 3 years with their response to everything, and now they're dealing with the consequences. A lot of problems, and I mentioned before as well that they kept so many people from healthcare, a lot of older people, from the medicines and having hospital appointments and all the other stuff because the government responses. And now it's you're having this massive knock-on effect. So no wonder we've got deaths up, and we've got all these people that are hospitalized and everything else. You've got that, as well as, you know, some other stuff as well. Whoa, check this out. This guy's just walking across the path here. Look at him taking a stroll. Okay, hold on, here it is. This is what swam up to me. Imagine your foot's right there and you see this swimming up to you. So now you can see why I thought that was an alligator or crocodile. I don't know what they have here. I think it's crocodiles. But these things are all over the park. So here in Bangkok. But yeah, the reason that we took this trip early was because of all these, you know, oh, there's going to be more lockdowns, oh, there's going to be this, oh, there's going to be carbon credit scores, and, you know, you might not be able to travel as much and all this stuff. See, I don't know how much of this is going to come true. And I don't know when it's going to come true, so I'd rather just be prepared for it now rather than take any risks. So that's why we've took our trip a lot earlier. But I haven't been watching the news or anything like that this week because I am trying to just relax and take a break. But I did just see the headlines from the UK that Rishi Sunak, Prime Minister, has just made an announcement. And I thought it was pretty funny, actually, because he said he's going to halve inflation, grow the economy. He's going to recover the NHS, the health service. Who have we got here then? Hello. Gosh, look how sharp those claws are. So yeah, he says he's going to grow the economy. Yeah, okay. Half inflation, fix the NHS, stop illegal migration. I mean, he's basically took a wish list of every single problem that exists right now in the UK, and he's just basically done a speech on it to say, oh yeah, we'll fix all of these things. Yeah, of course you will, Rishi. I mean, inflation's probably going to come down by half this year anyway, without him even doing anything. In fact, if the government just stay out of the way and don't do anything, that will bring inflation down on its own. It's only when they keep interfering and when the central bank keeps interfering that we're getting more and more inflation. Oh wow, I think someone just fell out of their boat over there on the lake. But the other one that made me laugh was he said they're going to shrink the national debt. Yeah, good luck with that. In order to shrink the national debt, you actually have to cut government spending. And they do not want to cut government spending. That's the last thing most governments want to do. And you actually don't really hear this in the USA. What is it now? 31.5 trillion, as I said earlier in the week. This debt will never be repaid, ever. $250,000 per US taxpayer. It's just never going to be repaid. And with all these strikes, it feels like the whole of the UK is on strike at the moment. And I hope it's not too cold for you over there. It's 32 degrees Celsius here. I think that's just over 90 degrees in Fahrenheit for everyone else. It's lovely, lovely, lovely weather here. So it makes a nice break from the snow and the freezing cold over in Europe at the moment. But in terms of, well, strikes, the healthcare service and the nurses in the UK have been offered, I think, 4.5% now as a pay rise. So that is one of the offers. And it's been rejected at the moment, and they're holding out for 19%. So we talked about this before, 19% is what they are holding out for, which is a massive increase actually. But if you think that they're saying they're 10% behind, oh, who have we got here? But yeah, it's a difficult one with the nurses' pay rise because they feel that they're 10% behind what they should have been in the last 10 years. And they feel that because of the inflation over last year, they should get this other, 9-10%. Yeah, it's a very, very difficult one because, and what makes me laugh is when the government and the central bankers say, oh, these greedy employees, they're making inflation worse. They're the ones that's causing all this inflation by asking for higher wages. No, it's the other way around. What happens is the government and central bank, via monetary and fiscal policy, they're the ones that cause the inflation by creating too much currency, expanding the currency supply, and keeping all the goods and services identical, because that is the GDP. So what you end up with is this massive, massive problem, which is what we've now got. So it's not the employees that are causing the inflation. They may cause a little bit of the inflation at the end, but that's the lag. They cause it at the end. They're not the source of the inflation. They're just getting the wages up to actually catch up with inflation. So don't listen to any of the propaganda and all this stuff in the media. They're just not telling the truth. Gosh, these massive lizards. If you live in Bangkok or Thailand, you're probably used to this. But I have not seen these lizards. They are everywhere. It feels like they're getting bigger and bigger all the time. And just over there, there's a cat sat right next to one. I don't know what these lizards eat, but obviously not cats then. It's actually been a while since I've been in Bangkok. I've been coming to Thailand for, probably 20 years now. It's been 3 years since I've actually come here because of all the, mandates in the arm, mandates. So they've only just started lifting all this stuff now. I think it's only the USA that still has these mandates. How funny is that? USA, most developed nation on the planet, and they're the only ones that still have these mandates to stop people coming in. Unless you go over the southern border, of course, you're fine then. But even here, actually, they've got somewhat of a worker shortage. I was speaking to a lot of Thai people here, and they were saying there's a big worker shortage because over the last 3 years, so many lizards, so many people have actually gone home to their villages in Thailand, and they just haven't yet returned. But now the tourism is starting to come back. A lot of people are actually returning here. But it's not just Thailand that's got a worker shortage at the moment. Well, in fact, they don't really have a worker shortage. It's just that they're not where they, where the work is. They're in other areas like, the villages and things like that. But I was just speaking to an Australian who was telling me all about this as well. He works as an economist. That's how we got into a conversation. And he was saying in Australia, they are paying massive, massive wages. So if you're Australian, drop me a comment and, confirm this, because he was saying they're paying huge wages in Australia now. And there's just not enough workers, and everyone, all the businesses are poaching all the staff. And again, this has been created. This is man-made. It's not an accident. Over the last 2 or 3 years, this worker shortage has been created. And you still speak to. I was listening to a conversation yesterday, actually, with these very young, hippie-ish kind of people, girls, and they were saying that they were just talking to this guy that they met. He was American. And they were just talking about why they're not going back to their country and why they're not working and all this other stuff. And they're talking about, it's too dangerous to go back to work and all this. And I'm thinking, what are these people talking about? They are traveling around, they're sitting on buses, they're in restaurants, and they're saying it's too dangerous to go back to work. But this is what you've created now. You've created a lot of people who are scared to work, but yet they're traveling. But then you've got a lot of people who just don't want to work. You've then got a lot of older people who don't need to work. Why would you go back to work when you don't actually need to work, when look how well the housing market and the stock market and assets have done for them between after March of 2020, of course, but right the way through to 2022, the end of 21, early 22, their stock market portfolios have massively grown. Housing values have massively grown. So why would they go back to work? So this is what you're seeing, this massive worker shortage, and it's pretty much everywhere at the moment. Another group of people that I've seen loads and loads here are Russians. Yes, loads of Russians here. And it's very, very interesting. So every time I've come to Thailand, especially Phuket and places like that, I've met tons and tons of Russians, got on really well with them, never had any issues. This time around, it's been very mixed. So half the Russian people I've met, really nice, really friendly, very kind. But then the other half have been really strange with me, just funny. Oh, where are you from? Oh, Britain. Oh, UK. They are just not liking, well, of course, why would they at the moment? But a lot of them are just not liking Westerners at the moment. So I think that's a shame, because I've always got on well with everyone from all around the world. But hey, that's what conflict does. It separates peoples from one another. Now, another group of people that I'm seeing loads and loads of here, and as soon as I got off the airplane and we were going through security, I just noticed tons and tons of men. And my wife said, where are all these men from? Because there were groups of 5, 6, 8. And I said, I think they're Afghani. They look like they're from Afghanistan, and I wasn't really sure. But then I noticed all the green passports, and they're actually from Pakistan. So there's loads and loads and loads of men who have come to Bangkok from Pakistan. So I don't know if that's for work. I don't know if they're on holiday. I don't really know. But the reason I say that is because there is a lot of news coming out of Pakistan at the moment. The government are having some major, major issues. And basically, they've run out of dollars. So we know that what's happening around the world at the moment, there is a dollar shortage. There just aren't enough US dollars. So this is obviously what's happening in Pakistan. And the government's announced all these emergency measures now, reducing energy consumption by 30%. So we're seeing a big pattern of this at the moment all around the world. Lots of governments are reducing energy consumption. But for Pakistan, it's not a sort of WEF style, we need to reduce down by 30%. It is we haven't got enough dollars to buy oil and liquid gas and everything else. Oh look, here we go. See what I mean? These things are everywhere. Imagine you were sat right there with your legs hanging over and that thing swam up to your foot. So I thought the measures were pretty funny, and they interviewed all these Pakistani market business owners, things like that, and these guys were flipping out, saying the busiest time is 8 to 10 p.m. each day, when people, I don't know, I guess it's cooler then, people get off work. I don't know, I've never been to Pakistan. But these guys were absolutely flipping. This guy's got his sandal off, holding it in his hand, he's hitting his hand. Made me laugh. Because they're basically saying busiest time's 8 till 10. So the government's announcing that from 8 p.m. all electricity is going to be turned off. So this is market halls, wedding venues, all of this. Can you imagine that? You just got married, you're having a wedding and the music started, you're just having a party, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's it. Everyone go home now. Or even let's say you're going for a meal in a restaurant, 8 o'clock, all of a sudden all the lights just go out and that's it. There's no more electricity. It's pretty crazy. But nothing surprises me anymore. Every single day we're seeing more and more crazy things happen around the world. It's bizarre. And talking of crazy, Macron in France, he's lost the plot a bit, hasn't he? So they've announced a French baguette emergency. I don't know if this is a tongue-in-cheek joke or what. There's a French baguette emergency. And I thought this was funny because they're saying, well, I don't think this is funny, but they're saying that 33,000 bakers in France may have to go bankrupt or close because, again, coming back, it's energy. The energy is just too expensive, so they can't afford to bake. So what did Macron say? Well, this is how, I don't know if this guy is just trolling all of the bakers here or what, but he's saying that what the bakers should do about the energy problems is delay the payment. Yes, delay the payment or get a loan. Yeah, because that's going to solve the problem, isn't it? I mean, it's like putting a plaster. Imagine you cut your leg open and you just put a band-aid or a plaster over it. It's not gonna work. You might need stitches or something like that. And sometimes this is what the government does. It doesn't think ahead and try and solve these things properly. Oh, energy's up by thousands of %. Well, you know what? Just delay the payment into the future. Rack up this huge, enormous debt. Can you just imagine how big the debt would be if the bakers are still charging the same amount, but now they're racking up this enormous energy bill? I mean, it's crazy. It's as if he actually wants all of these businesses to collapse. Hey, who knows? Okay, I think I've run out of news to talk about now. It's been a pretty slow news week, actually, which is good while I'm away. The last 2 weeks there just hasn't been that much going on. It's this sort of lull before the storm, as it were. So I'm going to take a nice walk now. We're coming up to sunset, going out for some nice Thai food later, go for some dinner, and then head down to the beach over the weekend. But yeah, if you're wondering whether to come back to Thailand or go for a nice vacation holiday, I would say I'm not gambling with it. I'm just taking my trip now. And Thailand's beautiful, actually. If you haven't been back here or you've never been here, beautiful, amazing hospitality, friendly, kind people. It is roasting throughout the day. I went out today to the Grand Palace and a couple of these sort of touristy things, and it was I was on fire, because imagine you just coming from the west where it's freezing temperatures, absolutely freezing temperatures, and you just get hit with 30 degrees Celsius, 90 degrees Fahrenheit on day one. So it usually takes me a few days to just acclimatize here. But all right, we'll leave it there today. I hope you enjoyed the walk around this beautiful park. And I'll see you, I don't know when exactly, but I'll see you again soon with the next video. All right, take care. God bless you guys. See you soon.